Mike O'Hara thought one shortcut would save him time, money, and trouble. Instead, it exposed everything. In 1991, one decision turned a quiet Fall River hustler into a permanent warning.
Welcome to Failed Gangster.
Fall River, Massachusetts wasn't known for flashy crime bosses or national headlines. It was a city where small crews survived by staying invisible. Mike "Shortcut" O'Hara understood that rule, at least at first. He wasn't violent, loud, or reckless. He made money quietly, moving between scams, stolen goods, and low-level rackets that barely attracted attention. But in 1991, pressure started closing in. Money slowed. Trust weakened. And Mike convinced himself that taking one shortcut, just one, would fix everything. Instead, it did the opposite. This is the story of how a single decision unraveled an entire operation and destroyed a man who thought he was smarter than the streets. Fall River, Massachusetts does not look dangerous from a distance. Rows of aging triple-deckers line narrow streets. Old mills sit quiet, long past their prime. The city moves slowly, like it is used to being overlooked. That is exactly why certain people choose to operate there. In the late 1980s, crime in Fall River is not loud. It is not flashy. It survives by staying small and careful. People who last here learn one rule early. Do not be noticed. Mike O'Hara understands that rule better than most. He does not carry himself like a boss. He does not dress for attention. He blends into the background, moving through the city like someone who belongs everywhere and nowhere at the same time. Most people who know Mike do not know much about him. That is intentional. He avoids confrontation. He avoids violence. He avoids unnecessary risks. His work stays in the margins. Quiet schemes, low-level rackets, favors exchanged through people who never ask questions. Nothing dramatic. Nothing worth headlines. Mike believes survival is about patience. While others rush, he waits. While others chase fast money, he takes smaller cuts. He does not need to be rich. He needs to stay free. That mindset earns him a nickname. Shortcut. At first, it is not an insult. It comes from how he moves. Mike finds efficient routes through problems. He avoids detours. He wastes nothing. People say he always knows the fastest way without attracting attention. The name sticks. And for a while it fits. By the end of the decade, Mike has built a quiet routine. He knows who to trust. He knows where not to go. He knows which nights to stay home. His operation is not large, but it is stable. Stability is rare in this world. Mike watches others fall. Some get greedy. Some get reckless. Some talk too much. He tells himself he is different. Smarter. More disciplined. He believes that as long as he respects the limits, nothing can touch him. But limits only work if you keep honoring them. And slowly, without announcing itself, that discipline begins to weaken. Pressure builds. By 1990, the atmosphere in Fall River starts to change. Law enforcement grows more attentive. Not aggressive, but persistent. Patrols increase. Surveillance improves. Familiar faces disappear from the streets. Rumors circulate quietly, passed from one cautious voice to another. Something is tightening. Mike notices it early. He always does. Jobs take longer to set up. Profits shrink. Small complications appear where none existed before. A contact hesitates. A meeting gets canceled. A delivery arrives late. Nothing catastrophic. But nothing smooth either. Mike tells himself this is temporary. He has seen slow periods before. He believes patience will carry him through again. Then the bills start stacking. Rent rises. Old debts resurface. Unexpected expenses appear. The math becomes uncomfortable. Mike still survives, but the margin narrows. One bad month could undo years of careful work. Pressure changes how time feels. Waiting no longer feels strategic. It feels dangerous. People around Mike start making moves. Some leave town. Some take bigger risks. Some disappear completely. The quiet ecosystem he relied on begins to fracture. Trust becomes harder to measure. Mike feels something he is not used to feeling. Impatience. He begins replaying old decisions in his head. He wonders if caution has cost him opportunities. He watches others who once rushed now driving better cars, living louder lives. He tells himself those people will fall eventually. But the thought lingers. Mike still believes in rules. He just starts believing he understands them better than anyone else. That belief is subtle. It grows quietly. It convinces him that bending a rule is not the same as breaking it. He starts thinking in terms of efficiency instead of safety. One faster move here. One reduced step there. Nothing drastic. Just adjustments. Temporary ones. Mike does not wake up one day and decide to change everything. That is not how it happens. Instead, pressure reframes his thinking. Risk begins to look like intelligence. He tells himself he has earned the right to move faster. He tells himself he knows where the line is. He tells himself he will stop before anything goes too far. These thoughts are comforting. They are also dangerous. By early 1991, Mike's nickname takes on a new meaning. What once described careful efficiency now starts guiding decisions it never should have touched. Shortcut thinking creeps in. He starts believing time is his enemy. And when someone believes that, patience becomes optional. Mike still has a choice. Slow down. Scale back. Accept smaller returns. Wait for the pressure to pass. Or take one faster route. Just one. At this point, Mike does not see it as a gamble. He sees it as a solution. And that belief sets everything in motion. The shortcut idea. The idea does not arrive suddenly. It forms slowly, over weeks of quiet frustration. Mike O'Hara does not announce it to anyone. He turns it over in his mind, again and again, testing it from every angle. The shortcut is simple in theory. Fewer steps. Fewer intermediaries. Less waiting. It promises faster returns and reduced uncertainty. It also increases exposure. Mike knows this. He just believes the exposure will be temporary. He tells himself this is not a new direction. It is a brief adjustment. A way to relieve pressure until things stabilize again. That is how shortcuts justify themselves. Mike reviews what could go wrong. He lists the risks carefully. He convinces himself he has already accounted for them. Experience becomes his shield. He believes past success proves future control. The first move goes smoothly. Nothing happens. No attention. No complications. No immediate consequences. The money arrives faster than expected. The relief is immediate and powerful. Mike feels justified. He tells himself this confirms what he already knew. That caution had slowed him unnecessarily. That patience had become fear. That intelligence means knowing when to move. He repeats the shortcut. Again, nothing breaks. Confidence grows quickly when reinforced by silence. Mike begins to trust the process. He reduces safeguards he once considered essential. Each successful outcome makes the next decision easier. Speed becomes normal. The city does not react right away. It rarely does. Systems take time to respond. Patterns must form before they are noticed. Mike mistakes that delay for safety. He does not notice the subtle changes around him. The unfamiliar faces lingering too long. The repeated appearances of the same vehicles. The slight shift in how people look at him during brief exchanges. These signals are quiet. Mike is moving too fast to hear them. The shortcut begins reshaping his routine. He plans less. He assumes more. He relies on momentum instead of verification. Each step feels efficient, but efficiency has replaced caution. Mike tells himself he is finally ahead of the curve. What he does not realize is that shortcuts do not erase complexity. They compress it. All the risk he once distributed carefully is now concentrated. And concentration creates pressure points. Small cracks appear. The first crack is barely noticeable. A delay where there should not be one. A message that goes unanswered longer than expected. Mike shrugs it off. He tells himself these things happen. The second crack arrives days later. A familiar contact behaves differently. Less eye contact. Shorter responses. Nothing overt. Just enough to feel off. Mike notices. Instead of slowing down, he accelerates. He believes momentum will carry him through. Stopping now would feel like weakness. He convinces himself the solution is to push forward before anything can solidify. Pressure changes behavior. Mike becomes sharper, more impatient. He begins checking over his shoulder. He sleeps less. He replays conversations in his head, searching for signs he may have missed. The shortcut no longer feels like a solution. It feels like something that must be maintained. More cracks appear. Patterns repeat. Routes overlap. Timing becomes predictable. What once felt invisible now feels exposed. Mike senses it, but he does not want to acknowledge it. Acknowledging it would mean stopping. Stopping would mean admitting the shortcut was a mistake. So he adapts in the wrong direction. He removes redundancy. He skips verification steps. He assumes outcomes instead of confirming them. Each decision saves time, but time is no longer the resource he needs to protect. Trust erodes. People pull away quietly. Some stop answering altogether. Others give vague assurances without commitment. Mike interprets this as disloyalty, not caution. Paranoia replaces clarity. He starts believing he is being watched. Sometimes he is right. Sometimes he is not. The problem is that he can no longer tell the difference. The shortcut has altered how he thinks. Where he once measured risk, he now reacts to it. Where he once waited, he now rushes. Each move creates another problem that demands another fast solution. The cracks spread. Mike begins making decisions late at night, when exhaustion dulls judgment. He ignores instincts that once kept him safe. He trusts urgency more than experience. The city responds quietly. Law enforcement does not intervene immediately. They observe. They note repetition. They map connections. They wait for confirmation. Shortcuts create patterns. Patterns create visibility. By the time Mike senses real danger, it already exists. The system around him has adjusted. What feels sudden to him has been forming for weeks. He still believes he can fix it. One more move. One more adjustment. One final shortcut to stabilize everything. He does not understand that shortcuts no longer lead forward. They only lead inward, toward a point where all outcomes collapse into one. And that point is approaching faster than he realizes. The moment everything breaks. The day does not begin differently. There is no warning in the weather. No unusual noise in the street. Fall River moves the way it always does, slow, routine, indifferent. Mike O'Hara wakes up already tense. He does not know why. He tells himself it is exhaustion. He has not slept well in weeks. Pressure has become constant, a low hum he cannot turn off. Today is supposed to fix things. One final move. One last adjustment. Something clean and efficient that will restore balance. Mike believes if he can just get through this, he can step back. That thought comforts him. It also pushes him forward. He reviews the plan in his head. There are fewer steps than usual. Fewer people involved. Less waiting. It feels decisive. Controlled. The shortcut is fully in place now. Mike does not double-check everything. He tells himself he already has. He does not pause to reassess the changes around him. He believes hesitation would make things worse. Time feels heavy. Every minute that passes without incident convinces him he is right. The city does not react immediately. It never does. Silence feels like approval. But silence is not approval. It is observation. Mike moves through familiar streets, unaware that familiarity itself has become part of the problem. Predictability has replaced caution. His routes overlap too often. His timing repeats too precisely. Patterns have formed. What Mike experiences as routine, others experience as confirmation. When the moment arrives, it is not dramatic. There are no flashing lights at first. No shouting. No chase through the streets. The system does not need urgency anymore. It already knows. The realization hits Mike all at once. Something is wrong. The air changes. A subtle shift. A feeling he has learned to trust but has ignored for too long. He slows, but not enough. By the time he understands what is happening, the window to escape has already closed. The shortcut offers no exits. Everything he removed to save time now traps him in place. The response is calm, professional, quiet. There is no chaos, no confusion, just certainty moving toward him from every direction. Mike does not run. There is nowhere to go. Years of careful invisibility collapse into a single moment of exposure. Every small decision, every skipped step, every rushed choice converges here. This is not bad luck. This is accumulation. Mike's mind races, searching for an alternative that no longer exists. He thinks of what he should have done differently. He thinks of the moment he could have stopped. But reflection arrives too late. The system he believed he could outrun has already finished its work. The shortcut did not fail unexpectedly. It worked exactly as shortcuts always do. It brought everything forward. Consequences do not arrive gradually. They arrive all at once. The silence afterward is heavy. No one rushes to help. No allies appear. There is no dramatic confrontation. Just procedure, documentation, finality. Mike's identity dissolves quickly. He is no longer a problem to solve, only a case to process. The city does not react. Fall River has seen this before. It always looks the same in the end. When it is over, Mike is left with time. Time to replay every decision. Time to understand that speed was never intelligence. That efficiency without caution is exposure. The shortcut that once felt clever now defines everything. Not because it was bold, but because it was unnecessary. The aftermath. After the moment passes, the city returns to routine. Fall River does not pause. Streets stay busy. Shops open and close. People move on without noticing what has ended. The absence of reaction is its own kind of conclusion. Mike O'Hara disappears quietly. There is no public spectacle. No sudden attention. His name does not circulate the way he once feared it might. The system processes him efficiently and moves forward. What vanishes first is his network. Phones stop ringing. Contacts fall silent. People who once benefited from his reliability now distance themselves completely. Not out of betrayal, but self-preservation. In this world, proximity to failure is a risk. Mike learns quickly that quiet operations leave quiet endings. There are no messages of support. No loyalty revealed under pressure. The invisibility he cultivated works against him now. He becomes paperwork. Days blur together. Time stretches. Waiting returns, but it no longer serves him. There is nothing to plan. Nothing to adjust. The constant movement that once defined his days is replaced by stillness. Reflection fills the space. Mike replays decisions in his mind. Not the final moment, but the earlier ones. The small changes that felt harmless. The steps he removed to save time. The warnings he reframed as inconveniences. The shortcut stands out clearly now. Not as a single action, but as a mindset. He understands something he did not before. Failure did not arrive suddenly. It arrived quietly, disguised as efficiency. Each rushed decision built on the last, narrowing his options until none remained. The aftermath is not dramatic. It is empty. And emptiness has time. Why Mike failed? Mike O'Hara did not fail because he lacked intelligence. He did not fail because he was careless from the start. For years, he survived by doing the opposite. He understood restraint. He understood patience. What changed was his relationship with time. Pressure convinced him that waiting was weakness. That moving slowly meant falling behind. He began treating caution as something to overcome rather than something to protect. That shift made every decision heavier. The shortcut did not create risk. It concentrated it. All the safeguards he removed were not obstacles. They were buffers. When they disappeared, nothing absorbed the impact of a mistake. Mike believed experience gave him control. But experience does not cancel systems. It only delays confrontation with them. He also misunderstood success. Silence felt like safety. Early wins felt like validation. He mistook the absence of immediate consequences for proof that his approach worked. In reality, the system was simply observing. Patterns do not punish immediately. They wait until they are undeniable. Mike's greatest error was not speed. It was certainty. Certainty that he could predict outcomes. Certainty that he would recognize danger in time. Certainty that one shortcut could be undone if necessary. Shortcuts do not work that way. They remove options faster than they create results. By the time Mike realized this, the decision had already defined him. Not as a mastermind. Not as a victim. But as a reminder. In places like Fall River, crime does not usually end in chaos. It ends in inevitability. Quietly. Efficiently. Without drama. Mike, Shortcut, O'Hara did not lose everything in one moment. He lost it the moment he stopped waiting.
The outro of the story.
Mike, Shortcut, O'Hara never became a legend. He never ruled territory or inspired loyalty. His story survives for one reason. It shows how crime usually ends. Not with glory, but with impatience. In places like Fall River, the most dangerous moment isn't the beginning. It's when someone believes the rules no longer apply to them. One shortcut was all it took to expose years of quiet survival. No dramatic shootouts. No betrayal from rivals. Just a bad decision, made too confidently. And once that door opened, there was no closing it again. In the end, Mike didn't lose because he was unlucky. He lost because he rushed.